All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me here at 8 o'clock this fine Wednesday in September, the last Wednesday of September, I should add. October 1st starts the beginning of October. Spooky season is among us, and we had some weather that kind of matched that today. Meteorologist Patrick Peace going to be joining me here in a little bit. In the meantime, you've got Allen Devlin. I'm an anchor here with Atlanta News First. I'm going to walk you through some of our lead stories today. And since I mentioned October 1st, actually, the first thing I want to tell you guys about is Jimmy Carter's birthday. So his actual birthday is the first day of October. He'll be 99. He's the only president to spend more time after the presidency than he did before when it comes to lifetime. So originally they were going to have celebration on his birthday on Sunday, but that looming government shutdown might change things up. They don't want the Carter Center here in Atlanta to be closed on Sunday when the deadline for the shutdown is Saturday. So they're going to have it on Saturday. You can join everyone at the Carter Museum. You can sign a card online right now. We've got that link on our website. Happy birthday, Mr. President. It was a pleasure having a Georgia-born native son lead our country as the 39th leader of the free world. All right, so 3 other stories I wanted to talk about here that I actually intended to talk to you guys about. The first one was a traffic nightmare earlier this evening, and it kind of still is continuing to be one. If you were traveling 285 up near Sandy Springs, you were in for a mess. So this was a crash, but thankfully nobody was hurt, but that doesn't mean that it did not create that nightmare I was telling you guys about. This is Atlanta News First chopper flying over that scene. A truck crashed into the bridge there at I-285 near Sandy Springs and had the lanes blocked for hours. A lot of those lanes remain blocked. So nobody was injured, and the bridge, as you can see, is still intact, but a truck slamming into a bridge like that, DOT is going to want to check it out to make sure it is still stable, and that's what they've been doing pretty much all evening here. They've been making sure that bridge is structurally sound because they don't want to just assume that it is, and then it happens to fall and injure or worse to a driver or multiple drivers underneath. So we've got full coverage on that. The road tracker's out and about. The Coolway Road Tracker right now will have that live imaging of what the traffic looks like up in Sandy Springs beginning at 10 o'clock tonight. So you can tune in and keep an eye on that, but it was a mess. It's still a mess. It's going to be a mess, but we're hoping that nothing permanent was done to that bridge, because the last thing the top end of the perimeter needs right now is more unnecessary, unplanned construction. But again, everybody is okay in that wreck. We're working on getting information on the cause of that wreck. Moving along here, a shocking scene out of the air on the ground today. A fire erupted in northwest Atlanta at an apartment complex under construction. Thankfully, in this situation as well, nobody was injured. I want to put up this video here. Take a look. Flames coming right out the roof of this abandoned apartment complex. I say abandoned. It actually wasn't abandoned. It was under construction and it was vacant. Thankfully, honestly, because this thing was engulfed. Black smoke billowing up out of there as firefighters took hours and hours to fight it. And it was no easy fight at that, because this thing basically lost its entire roof. It really might be deemed a total loss. They might have to tear it down and rebuild it all over again. But they were able to contain it to just this building, thankfully, so it didn't stretch to the other construction around that plot. This was at, let me get that address correctly for you guys, 1314 Northwest Drive, and it was listed as what was going to be the populous West Side apartment complex. Right now, that building definitely not going to be up and running anytime soon with all that damage. But you see the other buildings nearby didn't get touched, but smoke was covering that entire area, and there was a school nearby that actually had to close down and let kids out early, no after-school activities, because of how close that fire was and how much smoke there was. But again, thankfully, it was vacant, no injuries, and firefighters have controlled it. They're making sure there are no hot spots popping up on it to ensure that it doesn't reignite overnight. Again, that's 1315 Northwest Drive, Northwest Atlanta. Last story I want to talk to you guys about here is a really wild one. Cyclists just trying to go out, get some exercise, practice, get their pedal on, getting attacked, allegedly attacked. They're saying that this man intentionally is running them off the road and actually hit one of them, injuring them. Yasmina Alston was out there talking with the cyclists and police, and they just made an arrest.
And that group of cyclists was riding not far from here on Rocky Creek Road, a route they've taken many times before.
It's very unnerving that somebody can get in a truck and chase you down.
In his 12 years of cycling, Woody Morgan says this particular ride was the scariest.
Mentally, yeah, we still look back, but I'm just not going to quit doing something I love because somebody's not happy.
Morgan was one of about 9 in a group riding near Rocky Creek Road and Boynton Road in Hampton when he says they passed a man standing outside his home. Morgan tells me they've had unpleasant encounters with the man before.
He does not like us, doesn't think we should be on his road because he pays taxes on that road, and he's told us that. And as we passed, they were being pretty obnoxious to us.
But what happened next is shocking. The group alleges the man got into his truck and drove so close to the cyclists, allegedly hitting one of them with his vehicle.
And he acknowledged, he looked straight at her, knew he'd hit her, and yelled at us. And in 2 different times, he told us that he would get back in his truck and come and run over us and kill us at some point. But then he just chose to leave.
This picture shows the injured rider as they waited for help. The woman, who is a nurse, is expected to fully recover. Woody says they immediately called police. Incident reports show 66-year-old David Brian Harper was arrested.
So this driver, unprovoked, and even if he was provoked, frankly, doesn't have the right to then choose to take it upon himself to teach anybody a lesson.
Bike Law Georgia is representing the group working for justice. Bruce Hagen says this should be a strong reminder to drivers that the road must be shared with cyclists.
They slow down when they see people on bikes, which is what's required by law, that they leave at least 3 feet when they're passing cyclists, which is required by law.
The suspect faces several charges, including aggravated assault and aggressive driving in Henry County. Yasmina Alston, Atlanta News First.
Innocent until proven guilty, of course, so these are all just allegations, but a scary thing to think about when you're just trying to cycle and you're getting attacked by a person in a car. Those are 2-ton killing machines, depending on who's behind the wheel. So always keep your eyes and ears open whenever you're out there, and if you're behind the wheel, share the road. That's all I got for you guys today, this fine Wednesday, September 27th. This is going to be the last time I'll be speaking with you guys here in September, maybe, depending. No, I'll see you guys Friday. I'll be back Friday. Don't worry about it. Savannah Louie will be taking over tomorrow. I'll be back Friday, of course. But now I'm going to let the man with the plan when it comes to weather take over. Meteorologist Patrick Peak going to walk us through what was, I guess, a very cloudy day today, honestly, but it felt like fall finally. I don't feel like we've had many of those days in September.
Yeah, man, it was a nice day. I actually stepped out of the house this morning with a hoodie on to go to the grocery store, so definitely felt a little bit cooler out there. I don't think I was too mad about it. I enjoyed it, rather. We are expecting those clouds to gradually break through the overnight, and that's going to usher in some drier and sunnier conditions as we march towards the rest of the work week. Good evening, and this is the last time that you will see me, at least in this platform, in September. Let's take a look at the forecast over the course of the next few days, and we're talking about a rain-free forecast. Very, very dry conditions dominating the rest of the work week and the weekend, which is great news. Just a little bit of a cheat code here. If you enjoyed last weekend, this weekend coming up, it's going to be equally as nice. So similar conditions, some pretty amazing weather. So let's go ahead and get you through tomorrow, where we'll see more sunshine returning to the forecast for the morning drive, and the day is going to be gorgeous. We're going to be watching the extreme northwestern corner of the state. You see that rain that's moving through Nashville, much like what we're seeing this evening. Some of the extreme northwestern communities could get a stray sprinkle as that line moves to the south and east. It's going to weaken, and it's just going to be a matter of timing, but a stray shower could be possible in places like Fannin and Gilmer counties, as well as Floyd. Otherwise, expecting it to be quite a beautiful day across metro Atlanta. 64 degrees at around the 8 o'clock hour, and those temperatures are going to quickly climb into the 70s as we march towards lunchtime, topping out in the low 80s for the afternoon. So a seasonable forecast for tomorrow. And we're going to trend a little bit warmer as we march towards Friday. Still expecting sunny skies to dominate through the morning and the afternoon. Already getting into the upper 70s around lunchtime Friday. And then those numbers get into the low 80s for the rest of the afternoon. Really going to be a gorgeous day that I think is going to transition to the picture-perfect evening to spend out on the town. Around 11 o'clock, those numbers are going to still be near 70 degrees, so a very comfortable Friday. Weekend plans. You know, where I'm from, with a weekend like this in the cards, this is where we would all, as kids, camp out in the backyard, pitch a tent, and just hang out outside in the evening and sleep out there at night. Really just glorious weather for that type of situation this weekend. Daytime highs, both afternoons in the low to mid 80s across all of North Georgia. Mornings in the mid 60s. It is going to be a win. And the forecast continues to shine brightly as we head into the beginning of next week. Not changing much, keeping the sun around, keeping those highs in the mid-80s, warming a degree or so each afternoon, Monday, Tuesday, into Wednesday, but still roughly 5 degrees warmer than average. So really going to be a gorgeous week next week to start. Meanwhile, we're watching the tropics. Tropical storm Philippe has winds sustained at 50 miles per hour. It is moving to the west-northwest ever so slowly. The forecast is for gradual weakening with this system. Not expecting this to be a major impact, but if you had plans to go to some of the Caribbean islands, you could see a little bit of rain, put at least a little bit of a damper on a day of your activities. To the south and east of that, there is an area of low pressure that's trying to get its act together, and we do believe that within the course of the next 2 days, we could be dealing with at least a tropical depression. So something that we'll have to monitor as we head through the next couple of days. Gorgeous shot at Hartsfield Jackson. Quiet, rain-free, which is great news. We'll get you back to that 7-day forecast so that you can screenshot it and plan ahead. There's a whole lot of gorgeousness here, folks, and I don't think anybody's mad about it. But for the latest look at the tropics, we will be on Peachtree TV at 10, and you can catch us there. Have a fantastic Wednesday.